It's not just another day in your life. Things are changing for the better. At Comcast, we see those changes, and we're thinking about how we use technology today to live, work, learn, and play. And we're building for the future now, so we're better prepared for the wants and needs of tomorrow. That's why Comcast is rolling out multi-gig internet speeds to more than 50 million homes and businesses before the end of 2025, making our already industry-leading network even faster, smarter, greener, and more reliable. Over the decades, Comcast has been your partner, working hard to serve your community, and will continue to be your partner. We're expanding our gigabits so you can enjoy the tiny bits that matter most.
I'm Brandon Jones, host of the Teen Mental Health podcast, It Is Not Your Fault.
And I'm Lambert Fisher, family therapist and host of the Diversity Dude podcast.
We're not always going to be all right, and that's what makes us human. Often, when we're in pain or even thinking of suicide, we may not want others to know, but you'll feel better if you talk to someone. And you can do that safely and anonymously.
We can recognize when loved ones are not okay. They bottle up, they isolate, they're angry.
That's why we want you to know about 988, Minnesota Lifeline, for someone you're worried about or even yourself.
Anyone with an emotional or mental health related need can call, chat, or text 988 for free, confidential support. You can connect with 988 to discuss difficulty with money, relationships, anxiety, your job, concerns about drug or alcohol use, grief support, figuring out your identity, and more.
You don't even have to identify yourself or the person you're calling about, and no insurance is needed.
988 is available 24/7 year-round and can interpret in more than 200 languages.
So take a brave step. Call or text 988.
Or chat at 988lifeline.org. You don't have to do this alone.
You want a healthier lifestyle, but how do you get started? Then stick with it by listening to the Fitness Revolution podcast with Shay Sandifer, of course. Your journey to greater well-being starts now.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Happy Wednesday. It's Coach Shay here with Fitness Revolution. Excited about this topic that we're going to talk about today. It was something that was close to my heart as I'm making some business decisions, and I thought about business and personal and what that wellness looks like. And what we're talking about is knowing your self-worth, right? As we're going into the fourth quarter, contracts, if you do that kind of work, are coming to an end or they're re-upping for the next year. But also, like, where are you at with your self-worth overall over this next what do we have? Probably like 4 months, and then we're into the next year. So, everything's always contingent a lot of times about our self-worth with external events. It depends on your external situations, if they're stable or unstable, which always results into how you feel about yourself, right? So if you're going for that certain contract and you propose one number, but then you get a different number when they come back, it's like, what is my self-worth? And we always attach that to our self-esteem. And it's also attached to success at work. I think about last year. Last year, I won 6 awards. So all the work I've been putting into my business over the last 10 plus years, it kind of came to that point where I couldn't believe it. These awards were when I was winning awards. But on top of it, I felt like this. I was on this high, right? My self-esteem was like, boom, I did this and all this stuff. And then this year, it kind of was like, right? Kind of came down just a little bit in the sense that it just looked different in business. But I realized I really attached that to my self-worth and my self-esteem. And it wasn't that I wasn't still the same. It's just things had shifted in business, which I was also taking a look at through myself, and about what that looked like. What were the contracts? What were the jobs I was doing? How was my team operating? How did that affect my health? Last year, I was go. And next thing you know, I gained 30 pounds. So that was all connected to that, right? And then it was like, okay, now my self-worth, where was I at? I want to go a certain level with business. I want to go a certain level with my fitness and then my mental well-being. And I realized all of that was tied together the whole time. And there were so many outside factors that makes us feel like we have little control or no control of how we're living. And I really wanted to grasp that back, get control of my life, and not lead with emotion, but lead with motivation. And so, and not to make excuses for anything, but to figure out a plan about what that self-worth was, how I was going to apply it to my business and my personal life. So these are some things that I think are great that I just thought of that I applied to my life, and I think you should be able to apply it to yours. And it's basically what we're looking for is how to work better together, knowing what our worth is, so that when life gives us, slings and arrows, we don't know how it's going to affect, but we can go back on the task for what we need to do. So the first thing I always say is prioritize learning over performance. So what that means is focusing on learning and growing, and then the failures that happen and the lack of approval creates an opportunity to improve. Right? So failures aren't bad. They're actually necessary sometimes, but we connect that to our self-worth, but actually it's a learning lesson that we can learn from and make ourselves better. And it will help us recover more quickly through difficult emotions. So prioritize your learning over performance. Another one is adopt pro-social goals. So setting goals for us is huge, right? Set your goals. And I think sometimes we get caught up in like these long-term goals, but you can have short-term goals, whether it's for the week or it's for the month or it's for the quarter, right? It may be able to avoid some other hits that come with the self-esteem that you didn't hit the big goal as soon as you thought, where if you have the little goals, then you can hit those, and it can add so much value for you to focus and help others to add value to the world and their business and their personal life. Ooh, I like this one. Reduce external contingencies. So, external contingencies, self-worth is based on the approval or appearance of what others think. So, basically the worth of your self-esteem. No. We are not looking for approval for other people. We are looking how we can better ourselves, right? We want to really work on that. That's a huge thing. And I think that goes so much with what social media does and like what we're looking for, when we really just need to look at ourselves and look at where we're at, where we want to go, and where we'll end up being. Life has its ebbs and flows. And so it's really not about what others think. It's about where you want to go, so that when you're going in to that contract, you're confident. When you're going into that event, you're confident about who you are and what you're bringing to the table and what value you're bringing, and not focus on, what can happen, the contingencies, but we want to focus on decreasing the external contingencies on what builds our self-esteem. And last is focus on our strengths, the positive side, right? Ask yourself, what is it that makes you special or unique? That's number one. We're all unique. We all have something that's a little different from someone else, and we need to hone in on that and put that energy out into the world. What do you do that no one else does? Well, that's pretty simple, right? If you start writing down the things you do, you're totally going to look different from your best friend or your colleague or someone that you see in the streets. So know that part, like what sets you apart. What are your positive qualities, right? That's one of my biggest things, is to stay positive through the darkest hours. Look at the positive side, because you're going to come out of it. And I think if you can ask these questions on a regular basis to yourself, it can help improve your self-worth. It's going to help improve how you look at business. It's going to help improve your relationships. And like I said, the biggest thing is things aren't always going to be okay, and that's okay. But how are you going to grow from that and get through that? It's not always easy to develop self-worth. And so take your time, write down these tools, apply them to your life every day, a little bit by little bit, and you're going to get a better understanding of who you are and how, once again, we're not going to let the external events determine our self-worth, right? So I really hope that, you can start to shift what your worth is, and towards things that you don't have control over the things you do have control over. And the good control you have over is how you look at the external world and how you are going to deal with those adversities on a daily and weekly basis. So Remember, we're all about self-worth. We're all about making sure we're looking at ourselves as a positive entity and that we have positive thoughts and that we write down positive ideas and we implement those and we share those with others because we are all worth something. You're worth that contract that you want. You're worth that relationship. You're worth that apartment or a house you want to buy, but you have self-worth and you have self-esteem that's going to help you feel good about yourself and help you heal from the inside out, right? Because that's my motto, is healing from the inside out. So that's what we're going into. We're wrapping up third quarter. We're all about self-worth. So as always, inhale the positive, exhale the negative. This is Coach Shay with Fitness Revolution. See you next week.
Check back next week for more on living your healthier lifestyle and share previous episodes of Shay's podcast with your friends. Log on to ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com.
You know Shaletta makes you laugh, but did you know Shaletta Brundage can also make you think and boost your business? Media personality, activist, and comedian Shaletta Brundage founded Shaletta Makes Me Laugh to celebrate and share the best of Black culture. It's a podcasting platform. You can download 10 weekly podcasts hosted by African-American subject experts at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com is also a production house, creating broadcast-quality commercial content. And Shaletta and her team of storytellers create powerful promotional campaigns to get businesses the brand awareness they're looking for. Some of Minnesota's top businesses trust Shaletta, and you can too. Get out the word about your events and products and get in front of communities of color with ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. She's got the power to help your business.
Mark your calendar for October 17th. That's Open House Day at Summit Academy OIC. And that's where your next career begins. In just 20 weeks, Summit Academy can prepare you to be a medical administrative assistant, IT specialist, carpenter, electrician, or financial services professional. These are good paying jobs in high demand in the Twin Cities. Summit Academy will not only prepare you for a job with advancement opportunities, they'll help you connect with employers and hiring managers. That's right, Summit Academy has a list of local employer partners ready and eager to hire Summit graduates. At the open house, you'll meet Summit instructors and staff. These incredible people will guide you through the entire process, from application to graduation. And if you're looking to earn your GED, Summit can help with that. Come to Summit Academy's open house, located at 235 Olson Memorial Highway in North Minneapolis. Find out more at saoic.org. And we'll see you October 17th from 3 to 5 p.m.
I'm Brandon Jones, host of the Teen Mental Health podcast, It Is Not Your Fault.
And I'm Lambert Fisher, family therapist and host of the Diversity Dude podcast.
We're not always going to be all right, and that's what makes us human. Often, when we're in pain or even thinking of suicide, we may not want others to know, but you'll feel better if you talk to someone. And you can do that safely and anonymously.
We can recognize when loved ones are not okay. They bottle up, they isolate, they're angry.
That's why we want you to know about 988 Minnesota Lifeline for someone you're worried about or even yourself.
Anyone with an emotional or mental health related need can call, chat, or text 988 for free confidential support. You can connect with 988 to discuss difficulty with money, relationships, anxiety, your job, concerns about drug or alcohol use, grief support, figuring out your identity, and more.
You don't even have to identify yourself or the person you're calling about, and no insurance is needed.
988 is available 24/7 year-round and can interpret in more than 200 languages.
So take a brave step. Call or text 988.
Or chat at 988lifeline.org. You don't have to do this alone.
If you live in an older home, it may contain lead-based paint on walls, woodwork, and windows. Even more bad news, lead exposure can be dangerous to young children and impact their brain development. And now, the good news. Hennepin County will fix lead hazards in your home at no cost to you.
We were worried because of the paint in the windows in the bedroom. They were peeling and chipping, and we know that when paint peels and chips, and it looks a certain way, that's possibly lead. We were worried for our children more so than anything.
Eligible homes can qualify for up to $15,000 in upgrades. You may even qualify for new energy-efficient windows. Don't worry, Hennepin County has a trusted list of pre-approved contractors. You won't even have to find companies with correct licenses or certifications.
I've just done a test and it's positive. So we know that this is lead-based paint, and then we know it's a hazard because it's creating dust every time this window moves and opens. And if you look in here, that's just full of lead paint chips.
You won't have to stay with your cousin while you're getting the lead out. Hennepin County even pays for you and your family to stay in a hotel while the work is underway. The last good news is how easy it is to apply. Just go to hennepin.us/lead control to get started.
I'm really happy with the program. We can go to bed knowing that our children are safe.
That's hennepin.us/lead control. Tell your friends about it.
Are you the parent or guardian of an adult with autism? If your loved one has no restrictions through court order, then they are eligible to vote. And you can assist them in many ways. Some citizens with autism don't like unfamiliar places and activities. These voters might prefer to cast their ballot at an early voting center. Leading up to Election Day, these early voting centers are less busy and less likely to require waiting. Early voting centers are open all over Minnesota, and you can vote there right now. Or you can request an absentee ballot to vote by mail. That's right. Eligible voters can cast their ballots without ever leaving home. On Election Day, curbside voting is another option to make voting easy and comfortable. Election judges will bring a ballot directly to the vehicle with the person with a disability. Make a plan to support and assist your loved one with autism this election season so they can participate and exercise their precious right to vote. You can find out more at mmvotes.gov. That's mmvotes.gov.